Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Luscious Female Fan Steve-alicious here, and if Data and LaForge had a fanfiction baby, this would be it. An android with a visor. We'll talk about it, the month-long review of the Pixel 6 today on this edition of Steve-alicious Tech. And we're back, of course, as always. Thank you so much to all the new subscribers, up over 5,800 as of the taping of this video. If you're loving the tech, both new and old, go ahead and give that subscribe button a tussle. It certainly means a lot to me. We got the orange out today. We got the orange backlight. We got the orange accented watch. We got everything for the Kinda Coral Pixel 6. And this is the video that I originally wanted to do. This was my expectation of the performance and everything else when the phone was originally released. Because now, for your $600, you get the great performance. Things are mostly evened out, and there's still problems. We'll talk about them. But they're in that acceptable ballpark where you'd expect stuff to happen on new software and a new device. UI is pretty much smoothed out. I have not gotten any UI crashes, any system crashes, anything like that since they updated that release. I think it was a week or two ago. I've been pretty much fine with that. Fingerprint sensor, the software updates have helped. It's not perfect, and I have another video, actually, I'll put it up in the corner now, to help with the fingerprint sensor, because I do believe at least some of that kind of garbled what's going on with the fingerprint sensor is in relation to stuff that's going on the lock screen, both the animation and stuff, the apps that are happening on there, like the now playing. When there's stuff going on the lock screen, I do think it has a way of gumming up the work somehow and making the fingerprint sensor a little bit harder to use. So go ahead, turn those animations off, watch that video, and I do think that will help with your fingerprint sensor speed. Android 12, which is really basically the biggest holdup to what was going on with the Pixel 6, has mostly sorted itself, and especially on the Pixel 6. Twitter is now an excellent experience. It went from one of the worst experiences on an Android device to one of the better ones now. Super smooth. Doesn't get those hang-ups that other Android devices do. It's almost like an iOS Twitter experience when it comes to that, with the smoothness and the scrolling and all the rest of it. You don't get that choppiness that's been on Android phones for a bit now, and it's plenty horrible. The rest of this stuff is stuff you can live with. It's YouTube Studio stuff is still broken, but that only affects a very small amount of people. But for the most part, the camera's sorted. I'm not getting that weird lag anymore that I got when you first pull up the camera and you'd see that and you'd see the little animation in the top right. I'm not getting that second of lag, and it was a lot of weird things. This just wasn't ready. And whether you want to say it was the phone or the software or whatever else, it just wasn't ready. But now that those things are gone, if you can kind of separate from that, especially if you're just spending your money now or you're making your decision now, you kind of separate yourself from that, you're getting a mostly great experience for the money. I would stick with the 6, to be perfectly honest. Spend that $600. In fact, there were some sales, I think they were having it for $500 this past week. Stick with that, unless you really need that telephoto lens or that quad HD display, or the 120 hertz is really going to make the difference for you. I think you're going to be well served saving $300 and doing this, because I'll tell you what, you can have all these videos saying phone of the year, smartphone of the year, and all that stuff, and that's fine, but that's clickbait. The S21 Ultra is still phone of the year, so when you get up in that price range, $900, $1,000 with all in, you better be getting that kind of performance. So while this is great, and you're getting that performance, near that performance at $600, it's not what the S21 Ultra is. But that's okay, because when you're spending this amount of money, it doesn't have to be. And what you get is actually really good. When you go ahead and you use those mid-tier Snapdragons, even the 765G in that series, and then the 400 certainly, when you're getting in this price range, when you get 5G, when you get that RAM number, when you get the 90 hertz refresh rate, when you get some of the things that this has, and most notably, and I've talked about it a bunch, the build quality is best in class, and it's best in above its class as well. There are plenty of flagship phones that don't come in with the way this build quality is, and that really is a shame. But just even the way the buttons are done, just the back, the glass, the Victus, you got the camera model. Listen, you love it or hate it on the design, but when you pick it up and you get that kind of brushed matte aluminum finish on the side of the phone, then the beautiful flat panel display on there, nice and flat, no curve, great screen, doesn't get as bright as you might want, but still certainly does the job at this price point. That punches well above its weight. And there has to be something said for that. And when you factor that in, the performance that now has come around, and it is a step below a Snapdragon 888, but who cares? The price is like 5 steps below a Snapdragon 888 in a lot of cases. So especially when you factor that build in, and then you put in all the Google stuff, the Pixel stuff that they put in, like Now Playing, like the camera stuff, like all the added benefits you get. It finally is the package that you would have wanted when we first saw the phone released. And so now, and even before, and my first video when I talked about this phone, I said that you won't regret your $600 no matter what. Even with all the problems, you won't regret your $600. And you certainly won't regret it now. In fact, you'll feel pretty good about it, and you should. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been waiting for a lot of the issues to clear up, listen, down years with the rest of the stuff, they still have a lot of work to do with the Pixel 4. They basically broke a lot of people with the Pixel 3. They still have a lot of work to do on the Pixel 5 variants, but it seems like they concentrated on this first, and that's okay. You know, this is their first, number one device out. If you're watching this in terms of buying it, that's what you're concerned about. This one, they did the updates. They put the effort in. I won't say they listened to people because they had everybody stonewall people and say, oh, it's a feature. It's more, the fingerprint sensor's more secure. That's why it takes another minute, and they still have work to do there. But overall, even if they're not listening to us on the PR face of it level, behind the scenes, I'm sure the engineers are working hard, and they certainly have got this up to spec now, and it should, because it deserves it. It really deserves it. As much as I want to hate on Pixel, and I will in a moment when we talk about the charging, as much as I want to hate on them and come on here and destroy them every chance I can get because they do some really dumb things, I have to be fair. At this price point, the 6, and I can't say that enough. If you're on the fence about a 6 or a 6 Pro, get a 6. The 6 is a phenomenal deal. It might very well be that best budget phone of the year, best value. Certainly is the best value phone of the year because there are very few options, if any, in this country that you could easily get with a carrier and all the rest of it. You can ship out, get one of those Xiaomi phones and whatever else, and that's fine. And you can get a OnePlus 9, which I love, and I just did a video on. But if you build quality and that Pixel experience is the most important thing to you, this blows that out of the water. And that's fine. You get the added support that you get with this now, and then maybe it means something finally since they're updating and supporting this, so you're going to get nice, clean installs of stuff. And just overall, I think you're going to be very pleased with your purchase. But let's talk about that 30-watt charging thing for just a minute, because I can't help myself. You know, they said, well, we didn't say 30-watt charging. You know, it came with we sold an additional 30-watt charger, and we said it charged within this amount of time and all the rest of it, and that's fine, and that's well. So you went to the hospital dressed in a white coat, you had a clipboard, you had a stethoscope, and you went around and you were basically you were listening to patients' heartbeats. But I never said I was a doctor. Okay. That's fine. Listen, that's fine. Let's talk about battery life with that charging, whether you're going to need it or not. 6+ hours. Okay? 6+ hours. I'm not getting the 9 hours and the 10 hours that everybody's getting. To me, I'm not getting that. And I have pretty regular usage. So I question what people are doing. You know, if it's brightness at halfway, if they're turning off Wi-Fi during the day, if there's something that they're doing to get to those 9 and 10 hour numbers. I'm getting 6. And it's a breathe easy 6. I know I'm going to get 6 screen on time no matter what I do. I'm going to be fine. It's not going to be I'm sweating it out with 10% and running home and hoping I make it. And I got my ways up and I don't know if I'm going to navigate all the way back. Nothing like that. You're going to make it with time to spare. But if you do need to top off, the 0 to 50 is fine, but they should up that. They should kill that throttling and give you that whatever it is, 22, 23 watts, all the way through the experience to kind of top off, because there are some people, if you need more, but you want this kind of flagship-esque experience, you're going to need that. So they should definitely do that. And if they do that and clean up a couple things, we're talking about a really, really, really great experience. And even with those things that we like making fun of Google of, because it's just so easy and they make it so much fun, you still shouldn't pass up on this. You really shouldn't. If you're in that mid-tier category, ignore the noise, ignore even my hate, because they've done a lot of goofy things over the years, but it puts that aside, ignore that, go ahead, make your purchase. Everybody now is going to be happy with this. And I said in the very first video, I said, you know what? Pixel people will absolutely be happy. Other Android users and people coming from iOS might have to make an adjustment there with the quirkiness. But now with the work that they've done, I do believe that everybody will be happy with this experience and purchase, even if you're not somebody who is coming from the pixel quirkiness before that. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.